Hello everyone, welcome to the Purple Penny video for this week. My name's Mark. I own and run the Purple Penny along with my wife Catherine. We're a small family-owned coin, banknote and collectibles dealer in Mawson Lakes, which is a northern suburb of Adelaide. We've been here for 5 years in May, so it's been quite a while. We've been doing these videos for the last 3 or 4 years, so we try to do them weekly and sort of teach people things and perhaps share a bit of coin and banknote news. So last week there was a mint release. You probably know that by now. I know there's a few people here watching that know that. I will wrap up the mint release later. We won't talk about any of that early. That'll be the topic of the day, and just talking about how that went for us, how it went for the mint, and I guess what the mint is decided to do moving forward, and just I guess the implications for the collecting community. Now I do note with interest that Facebook has chosen not to notify people about the video again, so if you're coming in late because you're only just realising that the video is happening, then I do apologise. These videos are all available on Facebook later to watch. I also pop them up onto YouTube a few days after the lives, so hello to everyone who's watching on YouTube as well. Right, so let's jump into the news. So Charles III dollar coins popped up last weekend, and as far as we could tell, the first person that had them was a customer of ours, someone that we know quite well. So they appear to be here in Adelaide and in Sydney, and of course the Mint did some publicity distributing them around a mall in Canberra. The CEO of the Mint went to a mall in Canberra and spent a couple $100 in Charles $2 coins buying things to donate to charity. So given the fact that there was a Mint release this week, I guess the Charles coin thing kind of came and went with minimal notice for a lot of people. So there's a picture of a Charles coin that we've got there. We had a gentleman come in and pay for some things with some Charles rolls, so we've got some at face value, and we've been handing those out to people as they come into the shop. So there's a photo of one there. Now those coins were designed by Dan Thorne, who's a Royal Mint designer, and I guess the observation that Catherine and I made immediately about this coin was just how much empty space there is at the bottom of it. Charles III's name fits in a lot less space than did the Queen's name. So there is a bit of empty space around the bottom part of the coin there. According to a release by the Assistant Treasurer, there are 3.5 million of these have been distributed so far. I've seen mintages popped around of 10 million or whatever. I'm not sure where those are coming from. Of course, we don't know the final mintage of anything for a few years. And the rolls that have been appearing are in Royal Australian Mint paper. So if we go back to the big camera here, that's a roll there. It's a head-to-head roll. Sorry, a bit bright there, so you can just see that looks awfully like Royal Australian Mint paper to me. And Catherine agreed, and she said that the 2014 dollar rolls are in paper exactly the same as that. Of course, there are head tail and tails rolls available. Prices range from I believe the first one that we saw auction sold for $200, and I've seen them sell down to $35 now. So they're not going to be scarce or hard to find, so don't overpay for them. And funnily enough, the person who paid $200 for the first roll didn't pay, because of course when one person gets these rolls, other people are going to get them, and then, as I say to Catherine, it's a race to the bottom, because all you've got to compete on is price. So people just keep dropping the price until they're virtually giving them away, and then the next step after that is people start opening up the rolls and selling them coin by coin. So don't overpay for these. You'll get them in your change anytime soon. So we'll just say a few hellos to people here. Hello Peter, Jason, Daryl, Ogie, Gwen, Andrew, Ray, Justin, Michael, Charles, Adam, Greg, Bevan, Alison and Ian and Susan and Ivan and Carol and Adam and Aidan. So hello everyone, thanks for joining in today. Right, next item in the news was ANZ have started decreasing the cash handling at some of their branches, so you can't withdraw coins or $5 notes from some ANZ branches anymore, and they're not accepting coins as deposits anymore at some branches. Now, of course, it is ANZ's choice to do that. They do have a business to run, and if that's what they decide to do, that's up to them. But of course, we as consumers have a right to go somewhere else if we don't like that. Now, just for interest's sake, last week we took 2/3 of our takings in cash here, and that's pretty normal for us. So, you know, we won't be moving away from cash anytime soon. Next item on the news is a gold coin that was donated to a Scottish charity, so I'll just pop up the slide for that. This was quite a good story, this one. So the Scottish Charity Air Ambulance, which is an air ambulance that's funded through government monies and donations, send off their foreign coins to a currency exchange place to have them changed to pounds and pence. And the currency exchange place found I don't think it's this particular coin, but they found a 2015 1 ounce gold buffalo in there. And that's, of course, at least worth the gold value, which today is about $3,200, or a bit less than that. And the Scottish Charity Air Ambulance only raises about 50,000 Australian dollars a year, so this particular item being worth about $3,200 is a pretty significant win for them. And the manager of charities for the organisation said that that was the biggest single tin that they had ever had in terms of monetary value. So whoever donated that in Scotland, because they don't know where it came from, whoever donated that, kudos to you. If you have watched these videos before, you would know that that sort of thing does happen from time to time in the USA especially. Right, just a bit of a plug here for the Perth Numismatic Society, who are holding probably the last coin fair of the year in Australia on the 26th of December, the day after Christmas, which is a Tuesday. And it's being held from 9 to 1 at the South Perth Community Centre. So if you're in Perth, get along to that for probably the last coin fair of the year in Australia. Right, we'll just say a few more hellos before we move on to the topics of the day. Hello, Patrick, Adam, Melissa, Damien, Nelson, Samantha, Kathy. So hello everyone, thanks for joining in today. Michael says it would be nice to donate a gold coin to charity. Well, I think the world would be a better place if we could all donate a gold coin to charity. Right, let's wrap up the 35th anniversary folder release from last week. So of course last week saw the release of a 35th anniversary of the $2 coin folder, a 14 coin folder. I will thank the Mint for this. The Mint gave us an extra allocation, so that allowed us to have some to sell over the counter. So we announced that the day before release day, and we had people lining up from about 7 PM the day before. Thank you to Adam and Gary, who are two of our regulars, for notifying us of that. So we got a message from Adam at about 8:30 at night telling us there were people lined up out the front, and then we got a message from Gary at about 6 o'clock in the morning telling us how many people were lined up the front. Catherine and I raced in here and tried to get in here as early as possible, because there's nothing, I think, worse than people coming in and lining up early and us not having enough stock to keep all those people that were there so early. So we handed out tickets at 7:30 to the people in the line. There was just a couple of people at the end who missed out. I do apologise to those people. And we had, please tell me it's Linda, I think it was Linda at the front of the line there. She had got there at about 7 o'clock the night before from up near Clare, I believe, which is in the mid-north of South Australia. And she was lined up there with her partner. Linda, I'm wondering if you received my email. Oh, Linda. Here's Linda talking now. Linda who's talking in the comments now. She was the front of the line. I don't think I did, Linda. I don't remember getting an email from you. Perhaps jump onto our website and use the contact form and contact us that way, and then I'll reply. So congratulations to Linda. And congratulations to everyone who lined up and took the time to line up. And we were lucky enough to have some of the Queen's commemoration coins available at issue price for people who came in. And it was a pleasant experience. Thank you for everyone for making it a pleasant experience. And thank you to all of our regulars who supported us through that as well. And it went very well for us. Hopefully the Mint continues to give us better allocations moving forward, and we can do this more often. I will just say to those of you in Western Australia and out on the far west of South Australia, I wish we could take care of everyone, but I do remind you that it is just Catherine and I in here. Jared has gone off on holiday, so it is just the two of us, and we can only do what we can do. And having worked most of the day yesterday as well, there really isn't much more we can do. So I will talk later about what the Mint is doing with new releases moving forward, and I do hope that that makes a fairer process for everyone. Michael, I don't wish we had a shop in Sydney. I am running myself into the ground with a single shop in Adelaide, so I wish that you could find one easier in Sydney. But it is what it is, unfortunately. Now, thank you to Peter Andrews for getting the data for these graphs here. The top one there is sales prices on eBay of the 35th anniversary folder. The bottom graph is sales results for the 30th anniversary folder. So you can see there that the 35th anniversary folder, they're all selling pretty much for between $500 and $700 on the secondary market. And Peter went back a couple of months on the 2018 folder. He went back to the end of September. And you can see there that there hasn't been a spike in sales of the 2018 folder, and they're all selling for between $800 and $1,000. Now, funnily enough, we did sell 3 of the 2018 folders on Friday, and normally they don't move that quickly. So while there might not be a spike, there certainly has been an increase in demand of them. Now, I will just say, and I don't have the data to back this up, but certainly on social media, the prices of the 35th anniversary folder dropped. They were getting over $600 on the day of release, but now I've seen them selling for between $475 and $550, so the prices have come back a little bit. Right, let's just talk about the quality of the folders. We opened up all of the folders that we handed out and inspected them, and we did find 3 faults so far. We found one folder that had 2 Invictus coins, or Invicti, whatever the plural of Invictus is, 2 Invictus coins and no Frontline Workers coin. We had another one that had a very large greasy strike through on the gold poppy. I will take a photo of that at some point. And another one where the folder wasn't glued together properly, so the outer sleeve wasn't glued together properly. So, it is worth inspecting these things, and certainly there have been packaging errors that have happened with them. So if you did buy one, it is worth the effort of opening up and having a look. I will touch quickly on the topic of Mint dealers selling things for more than release price. Yes, it happens. It's been happening forever, and we probably all know who it is that's doing it. I will just point out that a dealer in Sydney that's selling the folders on eBay has given eBay a nice little kick in the pocket with $7,000 in final value fees. I will also just remind you that the authorised dealer allocations are a drop in the ocean compared to what the Mint distributes themselves, and there are far more people selling these things online than the numbers that the authorised dealers get. So everyone's doing it. I don't like it, but everyone's doing it, and I guess at least the dealer pays tax and GST, whereas no one else does. And certainly anecdotally, the thousands of people that were in the Mint line, the majority of them are there to try and grab something to resell, and why not if you can make a couple $100 out of it. But it certainly hasn't turned out to be the $1,000 win that I think a lot of people were expecting them to be. I think a lot of people are expecting them to be selling for $800 or $900 or $1,000. Of course, they haven't got there, and I don't think they'll get there any time soon. Right, let's have a look at some questions here. Thank you, Sam, for saying that our release went well. My wife got the 35th anniversary $2 set, but it's missing the gold poppy, but I got an extra lest we forget coin, so what can we do about it as it's an incomplete set? Yeah, bring him in here, Andrew, and we'll see what we can do. Jason says contact the mint. Andrew, if you got those sets from here, you're welcome to bring them in here. I know who Andrew is, so he's welcome to bring them in here. Mark says all the dealers in Melbourne are crooks. They all sold out, but not on their eBay shops, e.g. Max, Stern and IS Right. Well, I've covered off on that topic, I think. Brendan says the mint did a great job managing the release in Canberra, in my opinion. Yeah, I will just cover it in that in a second. Nana, Linda says one of her red poppies has a chip. Yeah, that seems to be happening. We had a couple that had little chips on them. Right, so let's just have a look at what the mint did. So there were people lining up at the mint from mid-afternoon the day before release, and the line was already several hundred long by close of business on Wednesday, I understand, and several hundred metres long by sort of the early hours of Thursday morning. Interestingly, for the first time, the mint actually handed out tickets at their line. So I understand that about 6 o'clock Canberra time, a mint employee showed up and handed out tickets. And that's a great idea for the mint, because it has been reported many times that people that queue up at the mint are really just holding places, and not long before opening, many people show up and push into the line because their family or friends or mates or whatever are there, which is completely unfair. So the mint, I think, instituted a no ticket, no purchase policy to stop that from happening. So kudos to the mint for that, for doing that. And I did see reports that sort of by 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon the line was gone, and you could virtually just walk into the mint retail shop and buy your folder. There was a limit of one per person to do that. So I guess if you're willing to take the gamble and you don't want to line up, you could have just showed up after lunch and perhaps got one fairly easily. But of course you could miss out just as easily as well. Now, interestingly, at about 4:46 Eastern Time, the Royal Australian Mint put up a post saying that they had stopped sales. They'd stopped sales, and that was via their phone line and their retail shop. And they've taken a new path with selling things online. So they've moved to an online managed ballot, and if you think back to the Red Poppy release in November last year, they did go to a ballot with that as well, but they used their own balloting system, and it was unclear how that worked, but the Mint is moving to a system called EQL, or Equal, which you may or may not know. Wynyard Coins used it for this release, so kudos to the people at Wynyard's Coin for breaking ground in terms of new product releases. And EQL is an Australian company that produces software and hardware to manage high demand new release products, to try and allocate new release products fairly. So I'll just look at what they do in a second. Just have some questions here. Andrew says they copied, no, the Mint. I'm sure the Mint didn't copy the idea from us, Andrew, and all kudos to Catherine for coming up with that ticket idea, which we've been using for a year or two now. Brendan says, I went at 5:40am and gave up because of the line. I went back at 2pm and waited 10 minutes. So well done, Brendan. Congratulations on doing that, and I'm glad you got one. Adam says, I've been curious about the name of your shop. I'll answer that question either at the end of this video or next week. Michael says, MRR Roberts in Sydney partnered with some fair sales group where people registered. Okay, so Equal. All right, we're just going to talk about Equal now. Let's have a look at that. So Equal is an Australian company that produces software and hardware to manage the fair launch of high demand new release products. They provide the software, they provide the fraud prevention, they provide the infrastructure or hardware. They manage the whole process, and from what I understand, people who get involved with them embed their software into their web pages, embed them in frames or whatever it is that they do. And basically you need an equal account, EQL account. You enter on launch day, and then EQL uses a system to fairly allocate products on launch day. So they take care of the sign-ups, the validations, the bot rejections, the multiple orders, the payment processing, and all of that sort of stuff. And they pick the winners, and then the retailer does the fulfillment. And I guess the advantages of doing it that way for a company like the Mint is that they can't pretend to be experts at everything, exactly the same as we can't, and they are outsourcing what is an incredibly difficult problem to solve to people who are supposedly the experts in the field. Here we are a year after the Poppy release, and the Mint hasn't solved their website problem, and they've I guess pivoted to a completely different system, and clearly that's suggesting that solving the problem themselves was either very difficult or impossible. So if you go and have a look at the EQL website, eql.com, they've got a big explanation of how they work, but this is their game. This is what they do. They handle high demand product launches, and they back themselves in terms of stopping bot orders, duplicate orders and things like that. Obviously the information about how they do that is very scarce because they don't want to share that with the people who write the botting software. But they do have a very good explanation about how people can win the opportunity to purchase a high demand new release product, and I thought I would just explain that to you. Basically, you as a customer, when the Mint sets up this, and we don't know when that is, you will enter into the launch. You'll get notified that your entry has been accepted, assuming that you have entered fairly, and they do emphasise that. And then you'll be let know if you have won or lost the opportunity to purchase a new release product. So how do they pick it? Well, basically, you have what's called an equalizer score, and there's an equalizer score per retailer. So what does that mean? It means that if you entered the equal launch for Wynyard Coins, then your score from Wynyard Coins does not count against the score for the Royal Australian Mint. So it doesn't cross across retailers. When you first sign up, you'll be given a score of 1. And if you enter a launch and you enter fairly and you fail to win the opportunity to purchase a new product, then your score is incremented by 1. So it will go from 1 to 2. What does that mean? It means if you enter into the EQL launch for the $2 folder and you don't get to buy one, then your score will go to 2. That means the next launch the Mint does with EQL, your score will be 2. If you fail at that time, it'll be 3, and so on and so forth. When you enter the launch, you're assigned a number, and basically the lower the number, the better. Each person gets assigned a unique, randomly generated number, and depending on how many EQL points you have, you get assigned that many random numbers. So if your EQL score is 1, you get assigned 1 random number. If your EQL score is 2, you get assigned 2, and basically the system will pick the lowest score from the numbers that you are assigned. Then the X number of lowest numbers are selected to be given the opportunity to purchase an item. So for example, if the Mint has 1,000 folders available through their launch, then presumably the lowest 1,000 numbers will be selected and given the opportunity to purchase an item. Everyone above their 1,000, their score will be incremented by 1, and that will give them a better chance of winning the next time around. So there's an example there. If your score is 3, you might get assigned numbers 13, 189 and 77. So 13 being the lowest will be the number that is assigned to you, and if there's 13 or more product slots available, then you can buy one and your score will be reset to 1 for the next launch. If there's only 10 slots available, then your score will be incremented by 1. So that's how it's supposed to work. It's a good website, pretty easily explained on their website. And as I said, obviously they don't go into how they stop duplicate sign-ups, how they stop bots, and kudos to them, because I wouldn't either. I wouldn't be sharing that information because you're just arming the people who are writing the bot software with information on how to get around it. So good on the Mint for doing something different and for acknowledging that perhaps it is out of their realms of expertise. You will note that we don't sell these high demand products on our website because, you know, we're not experts at this. We're not a web development company. We're just a little coin shop. So if we know it's going to cause problems, we just won't do it that way. Right, that's it. The Purple Penny. How did that name come about? That came about because Peter Andrews, who is watching here today, brought up to Catherine many years ago that if you look out, then you will see the odd 1964 Melbourne penny that is toned bright purple. And it's a natural toning, it's not due to cleaning. It is a natural toning. And we've since found a few ourselves, but that original coin, which Catherine has offered to buy off of Peter, is a coin of, I guess, some humour between Peter and Catherine, and it is known as the Purple Penny. So when we named this shop, we thought we would prefer to have a brand rather than it just being Mark and Catherine's Coin Shop or Catherine's and Mark's Coin Shop. So that became the Purple Penny, and that's where it came from. And thank you to Peter for playing along with Catherine over the years, and thank you for Catherine for playing along with Peter over the years. And it is a great name, and it has a good story about it, and it is much more interesting than Mark and Catherine's Coin Shop. So that's where the name comes from. Right, have a look at if there's any questions here, and then we'll wind up. So Samantha says, it doesn't stop those who've already purchased in store from registering and winning the ballot to receive another. No, Samantha, it doesn't. But you know what? No system is going to be 100% fair. The Mint can only do their best. They can only do their best. And, you know, if they go to 100% online distribution, then you get the people in Canberra saying it's not fair. If they go to 100% physical distribution, then you get the people online saying it's not fair. If they go to the ballot system, you know, then we'll get people saying they don't want to register their details online and it's not fair. There's no one system that is going to keep everyone happy. There is only the least worst system, and I feel like the ballot system that is run by a company that specialises in anti-bot technology and duplicate sign-ups, I feel like that is the least worst solution. So kudos to the Mint for having a go at that. Hello Peter. Jason says it sounds like a very fair system. Yeah, thanks Jason, I think it does too. Hello Christopher. And Sean says it's well worth a try. Can't be worse than now. Yeah, Greg has a bit of an explanation there about a dealer in Melbourne that sells things above retail price, so you can have a read of that if you like. And hang on a second. Sam says, I like having two of everything as I have the option to send the best one for grading. Look, Samantha, we would all love to have what we want, but sometimes you have to just take what you can get, and unfortunately in the world of new product releases, sometimes that's nothing, because there is more demand than there is product available. And Sean says, agreed, it will never be exactly equal, but more chance this way, I think. We can't have every coin. That's right. Thank you, Sean, for sharing that opinion. Right, that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everyone in line on Thursday. I was very apprehensive when I came in here on Thursday because we did have a terrible experience in the Poppy release with someone out in the line, but everyone out in the line was lovely, and people made friends, and they had fun, and that's what this hobby is about. It's about having fun. If it's not fun for you anymore, find something else to do. And thank you to Catherine for all of her hard efforts last week, and she's out there catching up on the mailing. Of course, when we are doing new product releases, she doesn't have time for mailing. And thank you to all of our regulars who make this fun, and I like to think we've made some friends here in the last few years, and it's always good to see people coming in here and being happy. And that's it for this week. Next week, what date is it next week? It's the 17th. No, next week won't be the last one for the month. Anyone's got an idea for topic of the month next week, topic of the week next week, please let me know. Thank you again to Peter for the data for those graphs. It's much appreciated. That's it for now. Have a great week, everyone. Happy collecting, and bye for now.